Okay, so I tried making this video earlier today, and I'm just gonna go ahead and apologize right now because this is going to shake quite a bit because it's on one of those cheap suction cup mounts that you get at Walmart. But anyway, I just wanted to do a little update on my car, my 2018 Toyota Corolla IM that I have. I got it back in February, so about 6 months ago, and I have 5,000 miles on it now. I took it for its 6-month, 5,000 mile service like 2 weeks ago, and the people at the dealership at Lancaster Toyota were all very friendly and everything. And of course, when you buy a brand new Toyota, you get Toyota Care. At least in the 48. I don't think you get it in Alaska or Hawaii. So keep that in mind. But anyway, so in the lower 48, you get Toyota Care when you buy a new Toyota, which is 2 years or 25,000 miles of free services. So that's your tire rotations, your oil changes, and everything for 2 years or 24,000 miles, or 25,000 miles. It's one of those. But anyway, so for 2 years or 25,000 miles, I think it is, you get free oil changes, free tire rotations, they check all your fluids and everything, and that's free for like 2 years. So anyway, so I took it in for its first service, which was just tire rotation and then checking all the fluids and everything, checking the brakes, all that stuff. And everything was good. They rotated the tires. Apparently, in the Toyotas, they use full synthetic oil, which you don't need to change until 10,000 miles. So my next service at a year or 10,000 miles will be an oil change and tire rotation and all that. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, so every 10,000 miles now, you're changing an oil in one of these new Toyotas with the full synthetic oil, which I think is kind of interesting because I'm used to, changing oil every 3,000 miles. But yeah, so everybody at the dealership everybody at the service center was great. The guy who sold me the car was a very nice guy. His name was, I forget his name. I have his card in my wallet, I just forget his name. I don't remember. But anyway, so the guy who sold me the car was a very nice guy. Lancaster Toyota was great. But yeah, I originally went looking for a Yaris, and the Yaris that they had was the LE Yaris, because I don't think they make the L Yaris anymore, which is like the base model Yaris. And the LE Yaris was like $18,000, and then this car is supposed to retail around like 19 something or 20, and they had like a rebate, not a rebate, but they had some sort of discount going on at Lancaster Toyota on the Corolla IMs. So I ended up getting this for around the same price as the Yaris. So when I looked at it from that perspective, it's like, well, I could have a little bit bigger car for the same amount of money. So that's what I went with. Of course, with this car, you had an option of a CVT or 6-speed manual. Mine is a CVT. The cool thing about this car is they do still offer it in a 6-speed manual, which I think is cool for car enthusiasts and everybody who likes driving manual transmissions. I just bought the CVT. I don't have that much experience driving a manual, so I just figured the CVT would be easier for me. But yeah, some days I wish I would have just bought the manual and went with it, but the CVT is great. It's smooth and everything. It doesn't have any real issues. The only issue that I really have with the CVT is from a start or from a stop, if you give it a lot of throttle, it'll hesitate a little bit. That's about the only real issue I have with it. When you're just driving like a normal person, and everything, it's smooth. You can't really feel it or anything. It does kind of feel kind of weird when you're not used to the CVT. But now that I'm more used to it, it's really not that weird anymore. But once you give it a lot of throttle, like if you're trying to accelerate up in one ramp to go into a highway or something, the car will actually simulate shifts, which feels weirder than if it was just going like a normal CVT transmission. So that's one thing that I kind of don't really like that much about it. But other than that, I mean, I don't have any issues with the transmission or anything. My main concern with the CVT is I don't know how it's going to hold up. I know Nissans have serious issues with their CVTs, at least as far as I've heard. I haven't heard anything about Toyota Corollas and their CVTs, which is the same transmission that's in this. So I hope that it'll hold up just fine. I'm imagining that since it's a Toyota, it'll probably hold up for at least 100,000 miles, no problem. I did get the extended warranty just in case, it's only a little bit more money. And of course, some of you are probably going to say that that's a ripoff, and I'm sure, but just to have that little bit of extra insurance when if something would happen with the car, I'll pay the little bit extra money. It's fine. But yeah, so things that I don't really like about the car, it doesn't have a CD player, and I know that like I'm an old man. I mean, I'm 23 years old, and I'm like the only person my age ever who would ever want a CD player in a car these days, because most people my age are like really tech savvy and everything, and really like Bluetooth and everything. And I've gotten more used to the Bluetooth thing, so like I'll play Pandora over the radio, over the car speakers and everything, and that's kind of cool. But I would still have liked it to have a CD player. The regular Corolla has a CD player, but I didn't want the regular Corolla because it wasn't a hatchback. I really have this love for hatchbacks. But anyway, so it doesn't have a CD player, which kind of bums me out, because there's a time when like you can't get a good radio station, and then like your phone doesn't have service, so you can't get Pandora, and you want to like listen to something, but then you don't have a CD player, so you can't put a CD in. And like, so you got to drive around either listening to nothing or listening to some preacher on the radio talk about Jesus, which I'm not really that into. So it would be nice to have a CD player, in my opinion. Another thing is, they don't have an option for a sunroof, and that kind of bummed me out because I really like sunroofs. And again, the regular Corolla has an option for a sunroof, which is cool because I like sunroofs. But this car doesn't, and the 2019 Corolla hatchback doesn't have an option for a sunroof either. So I don't know why. I don't know if sunroofs aren't that popular or what, but I know I like sunroofs. I mean, obviously a sunroof adds some weight to a car, which would decrease your fuel mileage and everything, but I don't think it would decrease it that much. And it would be worth it to have a sunroof, in my personal opinion. Now, of course, I could be in the minority there, but I don't know, I just like a sunroof. My 1997 Pontiac Sunfire had a sunroof, and I used the crap out of it. I really liked having a sunroof, and it just kind of bums me out that I don't have a sunroof. But other than that, I mean, other than the CD player and not having a sunroof, not having a CD player and not having a sunroof, I don't have a whole lot of issues with this car. Like I said, the CVT, if you're trying to accelerate fast, it's not going to do it. I mean, the car's engine's a 1.8 liter four-cylinder. It makes 137 horsepower, I think. It's not a fast car. It's definitely not a fast car. It's a car that's designed for somebody who wants to drive, to work every day and have no real issues or anything, and get good fuel mileage, which this car definitely does. I drove to Hanover and then back to Lancaster last week, and I averaged 42 mpg for the trip to Hanover and back to Lancaster. So if you're doing pretty much all highway driving, you can get like 40 mpg really easily. Now combined, normally I get about 35. I normally get about 35 mpg combined with the highway driving and all the stop and go driving and everything. Plus I live really close to work, so like the car doesn't really warm up the whole way before I get to work. So that kind of decreases the fuel efficiency a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a very fuel efficient car. It's a safe car. It's got a whole bunch of airbags. It's got a pre-collision system, which is kind of cool. And it's got a lane keep assist, It's got a backup camera. Obviously, it's 2018. I'm pretty sure everything in 2018 has to have a backup camera. So, but anyway, yeah, that's kind of nice. It's safe. It works just fine. I haven't had any issues with it. with the seats folded down and the security cover in the back taken out, you can put a mountain bike in the back of the car with only taking off the front tire, which was one of my things that I wanted to be able to do. And I wanted a hatchback to have a little bit of extra utility, you know. If I need to move some boxes or something, you know, I got a little bit of extra room back there, you know. So, and this car doesn't have the highest cargo capacity. I mean, I think it's close to the Honda Fit, and the Honda Fit's in a class below this, you know. So, it doesn't have the highest cargo capacity, but it's not really that big of a deal to me. I think the highest cargo capacity in this segment, the compact, because I guess the Yaris would be a subcompact. So I guess in the compact segment, I think the highest cargo capacity is the Subaru Impreza hatch. At least as far as I'm aware, that's the highest cargo capacity. So yeah, the cargo capacity could be more. You know, they could make a little bit more room back there in this car, but it's not really an issue for me. I can do anything that I really want to do in this car, so it's not really a problem. Yeah. The car, other than the CD player and not having a sunroof, is just fine for me, you know. It gets great fuel mileage. The steering is really light, which is kind of, I don't know, it's not really a bad thing, but it's just kind of weird coming from, you know, driving analog cars, because my 97 Sunfire had none of this stuff, you know. Half the time the power steering didn't work. So I'm very used to having a very analog feeling driving experience, which you don't have in this car because everything's electric. So, you know, it's got like electric power steering, electric throttle, you know, there's no cable, you know, all that stuff. So it's just different, you know, than older cars. And the ride on this car is kind of stiff because I think it's supposed to be kind of sporty focused, you know, on like young generation people, because this car used to be a Scion, and that was like Scion's thing. So yeah, so this car's suspension isn't the softest, it's kind of stiff. It's not uncomfortable, at least not for me. You know, it's nowhere near what the Grand Marquis I had was, but you know, that was a boat. So I mean, that floated over all the bumps and was incredibly comfortable. It had a front seat couch type feeling thing, bench seat, which was incredibly comfortable. Obviously this doesn't have that. It's got bucket seats with bolstering because it's sporty, even though it's only got 137 horsepower, you know. But anyway, so this isn't a sports car. You're not going to go fast in it. You know, the speedometer goes to 150, and I'm guessing that's probably a joke. I haven't had it over 90. And most of the time that I'm going that fast is by mistake. I look down, and I'm like, holy shit, I should slow down. But anyway, so it's a great car. It's fuel efficient. I haven't had any issues with anything, reliability or anything. You know, it's got 5,000 miles on it. I would be greatly disappointed if I had any kind of issues at this point in the car's life. So at 5,000 miles, I'm pretty happy with my purchase decision of buying this vehicle. I love the color. If you haven't seen the outside of this car, this is what they call spring green, although I like to refer to it as like a hazard vest green, because if you've ever seen one of those hazard vests for like construction workers, that's kind of the color of this car. It's like a bright yellow green. It's kind of like the color of pollen when pollen falls out of trees, which I guess is why you would call it spring green. But yeah, I love the color. I like the way the car looks. It's very aggressively styled, which is like a thing in cars nowadays. They all have to be so aggressive looking, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so this, I really do like this car. And there's a couple things I don't like about it, but for the most part, I'm very happy with my decision to buy this vehicle. But yeah, so this is the 5,000 mile update. Yeah, so maybe in like January or February or something, you'll see the 10,000 mile update. Maybe I won't drive it that much over winter. I don't know.